You want me to put that on my Tudor?
This one's wife. $1 million. Ha! 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 Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. One of the significant advantages that arises from the misfortune of having so much of this one's wife plastered throughout media around the world is that it means one can go back and look at the things that she said, the things that she proclaimed, the things that she said that were going to happen, and then gauge what came next. Did she achieve what she set out to do? So, for example, as I've mentioned before, we can look at the 40 by 40 initiative, which she heralded with Harry juggling his balls outside of the window and Melissa McCarthy cracking jokes. And where did that get to? It achieved a square root of fuck all. Similarly, remember just over a year ago where this one's wife at the red carpet suggested that there was much in the pipeline, exciting things coming along. And what was actually produced? Oh, Lemonada got shunted back to the following year, still hasn't manifested. Meet Me by the Lake, nothing's happened with that. The Cookery Show finally got screened, but even that's been put back and has been ridiculed. So all these exciting projects were also met with mwah, 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 mwah. But I thought that as a part of an intermittent series, I would take a look back at some of the things that this one's wife was going to achieve, and then we can have a look and see where it's got to. And one of them is nearly 5 years ago, as heralded in that supine publication Tatler. This one's wife could charge up to $1 million per speech with A-list agency. Yes, do you remember this? This one's wife, and also Harry, signed up with the same speaking agency as the Obamas and the Clintons. Now, irrespective of what your political affiliations might be, you would at least recognise, for instance, that two former presidents would have something of interest to say. Even if you didn't like it, you'd still find it potentially interesting. And as Tatler reported, this one's wife signed with one of the highest profile agencies in the United States for speaking engagements, an agency who represent Michelle and Barack Obama, Hillary and Bill Clinton, as well as close connections of the couple, Oprah Winfrey and Jane Goodall. They've chosen the New York-based Harry Walker Agency to represent them as they carve out their new roles after stepping back from royal life earlier this year. This was June 2020 when this was reported. It's thought that this one's wife could charge as much as $1 million per speech at Harry Walker. Right, okay. $1 million. So she signed up with the Harry Walker Agency, and entertainingly enough, her profile is still there. She still signed up with them. And it is quite a long bio that's provided, which tells us about the fact that she is a feminist, champion of human rights and gender equity, and global role model. Yeah, only in your own fucking deluded mind. It tells us about her lifelong advocacy for women and girls, i.e. taking part in a class project to write to Procter & Gamble. It tells us about some of the things that she's been in, lists such as the Financial Times' 25 most influential women, or Variety Power of Women, and British Vogue's Vogue 25. Oddly enough, it seems to have missed Ranker's most disliked celebrity top listing that she secured. It tells us about her past, where she's from, where she went to school, where she studied, the fact that she's been in Suits. It tells us that she married Harry. It tells us about the fact that she's an accomplished writer. Yes! She's contributed pieces to publications in the UK, US, and Ireland. And she parlayed that skill into the creation of the successful lifestyle website, The TIG. She talks about founding Archwell and then Archetypes, And then she's an NY Times best-selling author. Forgetting, of course, to include the fact that it had the video where she read it had the most dislikes, which led to the dislike button being hidden on YouTube. It talks about her influence in fashion, has been described as the This One's Wife effect. And apparently she's a passionate advocate for mental health and family care. It also tells us where she lives with her husband and their children and their 3 dogs. I'm not going to read through all of it. It'd take too long, and you've heard so much of it before, but it's an absolute load of pap, which omits so much of the things which are wrong with her. But there she sits still on the Harry Walker Agency, with the expectation that organisations around the world would be thinking, yes, let's pay a cool $1 million or thereabouts to have this lady come and talk to us. She's inspirational. She is a feminist. She is a champion of human rights. Gender equity courses through her veins. What she will tell us will be authentic and meaningful. As we know, what we have been subjected to whenever this woman flaps her gums is word salad. Fridge magnet platitudes invariably taken from other people as she trots out trite phrases and general bollocks. What has she actually done speech-wise since she signed up to this agency? Well, off the top of my head, she bored the arse off everybody at Bridgewater Hall back in September 2022 at that One Young World nonsense, where she wore red and grinned and told jokes and mistimed things. She did the South by Southwest panel in Texas, where she received some snark from one of the other panelists. She attempted to grab a microphone at a Kevin Costner event and failed. She's made numerous speeches, but they've been at her own events. So, for instance, when she was on a faux royal tour in Colombia and another faux royal tour in Nigeria, and when she turned up in New York talking to the children, the parents of children that had died as a consequence of online bullying, etc. That was an Archwell event. To my mind, and I'm willing to be corrected, the only occasion that I can think of where she has been booked to speak alone, not as part of an event that she's tied to, or one of her own events, or something to do with Archwell, was when she spoke at the hotel, I think was it the Marriott in Indiana. That's it. And I can safely say she didn't get $1 million for that. But where are all these stadia that she was supposedly selling out? Didn't happen. Where are all of these keynote speeches that she was providing at monumental events, be it to do with humanitarian aspects, or even if she was hired by corporate giants to bring insight from her perspective? They just haven't happened, have they? So there we are, 5 years ago, Megxit has occurred, they've departed the royal family, Netflix has been signed up, Spotify have been signed up, she joins the Harry Walker Agency, and Tatler tells us she's going to be commanding $1 million a speech. Fast forward nearly 5 years, what have we had? I can safely say there'll have been no $1 million speeches, and the only booking that I can think of that actually occurred was when she spoke in Indiana. Beyond that, it's been related to appearing on a panel with other people, or at Archwell-related events, or just grabbing the microphone and talking down at children when she's gone on faux royal tours. Just demonstrates what an abject loser this woman is, that nobody was interested in her coming and speaking and paying that amount, that it shows the hubris of this individual to think that she could command such a sum, and it's laughable that she still remains at the Harry Walker Agency, described as the world's leading speakers bureau. $1 million per speech. You're having a laugh, aren't you? Failure, again. And the passage of time, and of course the fact that so much is committed to talking about her and writing about her, enables us to look back at what was proclaimed and to see what she's achieved. And in this respect, it really is the square root of fuck all. Keep an eye out. I'll be examining other instances of this to see just what it is that This One's Wife has achieved, perhaps tickling your memory about events that had perhaps slipped from it, whereby there was a suggestion that she was going to achieve great things. And lo and behold, as predicted by your glorious narrator, all that's happened is a downward spiral. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.